Okay, so this is our 2D animation class, and so far we've been concentrating on learning Blender on its own, 3D instead of the grease pencil for our 2D animation, to showcase to you guys the importance of learning the 3D version or the 3D counterpart of Blender that can support your 2D animation, right? And it can look a little precise because most of the backgrounds are, if you're going to do them in 3D, not unless you stress them out or kind of make those lines kind of not so perfect, you're not going to get that real hand-drawn kind of design. So the whole point here is that you can create your background or your props or any of your foreground background in 3D, and we can convert those into grease pencil lines. Okay, if not converting them, you can draw on top of them. Okay, so let's say when we start our 2D animation, we're going to go to File, New, 2D Animation. If you pick this pre-made route right here by Blender, all it did is reconfigure the screen so that whatever it is that you're looking at, whenever it's like this white screen right here, is basically, and I don't have my tablet with me, so that's my mouse work right there. All right, everything that you see here looks like flat and 2D, but in reality, we are just viewing this flat plane using Blender camera. So I'm going to press 0 on the numpad right now to get out of the camera mode. As you can see, if I middle click drag my mouse, there is that drawing, and this camera is pointing at it, kind of like this. So, okay. So if we're able to create objects, so I'm going to go here, go to object mode. I'm going to add an object, let's say cube. Okay, I'm going to move the cube back and a little bit over there, and then let's say we get monkey. All right, please mute your mic, please. Okay, monkey right here. So all right, and then I'm gonna go press 0 on the numpad to kind of look at, and there they are. So you see those objects in there. So I'm gonna be manipulating those objects while looking through the 2D camera of Blender. I'm gonna go to solid mode here, just so that we could see a little bit better shading on these objects here. So I can rotate that along the Z-axis, and then I can scale that like so. All right, so kind of like pretending this is a building that you can easily put in the back. I can even do some modeling on this. So let me grab that, and then let's say if I raise that a bit, and then let's say I lower this one. Just a quick model here, nothing serious. So I'm going to move that like so. Oops. All right, so I mean, we can easily do some quick renders, and then you can set them as your background. All right, so what else can we do here? I'm gonna go, let's say, since I'm adding stuff here, let me maybe get rid of that guy right there. Create a plane as basically our ground. Let's kind of scale this thing and then lower it a bit. Okay, it's right there, just so that our drawing is just kind of sitting right there, and then we can move this back a bit. Okay, and then take a look. There you go. So you're creating kind of like a ground for, or horizon for your animation. Then you can add this buildings right here as background. So let's say if I go to the top viewport right here, there's our camera, so I can duplicate this. Let me just go to keyboard shortcuts here. So I'm Shift-D, duplicate it, put it all the way back there, and then duplicate it some more. And it kind of knows, you'll, because it's a real camera, there's perspective on this one, so you'll see some distance in there. You'll see perspective. So I'm going to press 0 on numpad to kind of see it. There they are. So you can easily set up your and doesn't have to be 3D object. You can also do 2D animations or grease pencil draw lines on this one. Okay, because when we switch back to, let's say, so if I select this one and I switch back to draw mode right here, so we're back to 2D right here, you can draw on specific location. Okay, so right now the origin, which is the center of the world, so whenever you draw, the way it was designed as 2D, this is where you get to draw your lines. I'm gonna boost my strength here, so I'm just kind of, when I draw like so, no matter where I draw, it starts at the origin. So you'll see it here once I move out of the camera, press 0, okay, and then you see it right there. So no matter what, I'm only drawing on that flat plane right there. Okay, press 0 to come back. So if I change now, I can set up, let's say, 3D cursor. Your 3D cursor is something where you can position anywhere. So if I move here to my 3D cursor, and then let's say, let me go out here and then put my 3D cursor instead to a position other than, let's see, is it below? Most likely. Or it's at the, I'm just going to put 0, 0 here so that we could actually, well, let's just go to the surface plane right here because I have that thing hidden. So, all right, instead of the 3D cursor, I'm just going to go surface right here. So surface, meaning any object with surface you can draw on top. So let's go back to the camera. Okay, now I'm going to draw. So here, it will snap to that one, right? So let's say I'm going to draw an awesome window. All right. So this is basically as awesome as Gary's drawing while he's blind. So let me see. All right. Awesome. Look at that window. All right. So now let me go out the camera mode. As you can see, it's right there. It's actually on the surface. Okay. Of that one right there. Okay. So you can definitely go to any thing that's, you can even draw on a stroke, so you can actually snap to a stroke right here. All right, so there's all these things that you can do. So not only can you use them as kind of reference building, like you can actually draw on top of them like so. Okay, well, let's do better. I'm just going to go with the line tool here. Okay. Okay, so let's say you didn't want to use the 3D objects to whatever it is, there's, their purpose and whatnot. You can still kind of trace them. Okay, and the beauty of that is once you move out of the camera and you decided to rotate those objects, so let's say I select those strokes, right? I go to my edit mode and I selected all the strokes right here. Okay, they get to be moved, or even right here if I go rotation Z, you can rotate them. Okay, so you can reposition them. All right, but in 2.9 they added this really awesome thing. I'm gonna delete those. All right, where you can convert, I'm gonna go object mode here, 3D object into grease pencil lines. Okay, so let's start with this one. Let's get rid of this one, it's just getting in the way. All right, so I'm gonna start with this, and keep in mind whatever lines or edge you made in your modeling, it'll be part of the grease pencil. So you just got to select the object. When you go to object and convert, there's grease pencil from mesh. You can also do it with curves. Okay, so if I click here, mesh, there it is. Okay, so that's you can control, of course, the outline here. I can make adjustments, the stroke thickness, I can make that lower. It's very clean. You can stress this out after. There's a lot of things you can do once you're in edit mode, or you're even sculpting it. All right, so you can go to sculpt mode, and then you can mess with the lines and whatnot. You can smooth them out. You can see here they're kind of getting crooked. So I can, you can kind of push and pull. So there's all these things that you can do after the fact. So they're not, necessarily just what it is. Okay, you can make them kind of wiggly, and you can scale them. There's all sort of things that you can do to them. Okay, and then you can even change the material. So this is the reason why we spent time in the 3D area of Blender first, because to take advantage of this feature. Okay, not all of you will use this, because as you can see, not everyone appreciates those clean lines as background. And you can change the shading, by the way, but you can use them for blocking. They're great for blocking. They're great for creating your environment, and you can trace on top of them. So if you still want that hand drawn look, you can trace on top of them. Okay, so you're using them as props or guides. Okay, so there's plenty of things that you can do. All right, so let's do another one when we talk about drawing. A lot of the perspective drawing, and your vanishing points, and then where you create your horizon line. So I'm going to create a scenario right here. Okay, I'm just going to go with general first. Okay, I'm just going to model, let's say, a small room scene in here. So I will get rid of the front face by selecting it and deleting it in edit mode. All right, and then I will select the back right here. I'm going to press Inset Polygon, this tool right here, so I can get kind of like a window. I don't want it to be square, so I'm going to go to my scale right here, so I can make it a little bit more kind of panoramic. Okay, and then get rid of it. So press X, faces. So there you go. So we have a window right there, and I'm going to select the sides right here. Okay, make it a little bit wide. All right, and let's make some tables and chairs. So I'm just going to make this simple. So I'm just going to be extracting things from the floor here. So I'm just going to duplicate that and then move it here and scale it so that becomes my table. Okay, I'm going to move that closer to the window. All right, and what I'll do is extrude that so that there's a little thickness right there. Okay, and then I'm going to select the bottom right here. I'm going to click on Inset Polygon again, or press I. There we go. I'm going to scale that along the X, and let's say just extrude that one. So we have like a little base for the table right here. Okay, and then we're going to create the chair and or the bench, or like a booth seating right here. So let's see. I'm just going to borrow this one right here. Shift D to duplicate it. Okay, and then I'm just going to move it over here and then do some scaling. All right, and then we'll move it here, down here. All right, maybe that's too low. Well, it's just approximation. So I'm going to go to edge mode, or number 2. I'm going to select that right there. I'm going to extrude that and then move it up, and then kind of lean it back a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to select both of these faces here real quick and extrude it. Press E, kind of gives it some thickness right there. Okay, and then maybe fix this one here, kind of flatten that a little bit, or angle that. All right, so that one, select the bottom again, very similar to what we did for the table here, and it's going to press I, or Inset Polygon, or this tool here, and that should be fine right there for demoing purpose. We're just going to go like so. All right, and then I'm going to select all this. So I'm going to go Control and plus on the numpad to increase my selection. If I go to the front right here, I'm just simply going to duplicate this. Okay, and then rotate it. So RZ 180. There it is, and then just kind of eyeball and position it. All right, so let's see. Maybe I'm going to go here. I'm going to shrink that table. It's way too big. Control plus till I got all my selection. Get rid of that tool also. So I'm going to go back to my select tool. And let's see right here. And we're just going to pick the edge of the table here, or the faces of the edge of the table, and scale them along the x-axis, SX. Alright, so something like this, where you would typically just need this, and then you'll have your 2D characters right here sitting down and talking to each other. Alright, so then you will have to worry about perspective, and where your vanishing point is, where your horizon line is, so on and so forth. Or you can easily create some really simple geometry like this as your starting point for your background. Then what you can do is you can I'll teach you another one, another technique right here to move this into another file, right? So I'm using a Mac, so I'm going to be using Command C to copy this. In your Windows, you're going to do Control C. So I press Command C, so that's in memory right now. Watch this one when I click on File, New 2D Animation. Okay, not going to save that. Okay, and I'm here in Blender. Remember this scene right here. So I'm going to just go Command V right here, and voila, there's that. Okay, so that's the object right there. If I press 0 here to get out of that camera, okay, there it is. Okay, it's way too small for its purpose. Okay, so I'm going to go press 0 again, and it's because the entire canvas right here is your camera in Blender. So I'm going to scale that. I'm just going to press S, go to Object Mode, select the object. Okay, then press S and make it big, and I'm going to go to shaded mode here so we can see better. Alright, so let's say, and that's that. As you can see right here, you might not like the whole thing as as being grease pencil, but you can't deny the fact that you can use it as a prop. You can draw your 2D here. So I can, I'm gonna go Gary mode again with my drawing. How do I get to my drawing? Where's my draw mode? I need to go stroke right there. Select stroke first. Remember, if you're not in stroke, you won't be able to see draw right here. Okay, so let's say on frame 1, I'm going to be drawing my characters right here. My strength all the way 1, and then here we go. All right, so takes out all the guessing work if your perspective is correct, so on and so forth, because your background is already made. So let's say you decide, hey, I want to actually use this one as part of my grease pencil. Okay, then you can go to object mode here, and you can always decide later you can duplicate this object and hide it. You don't have to convert it. I can go here, object, and then go to convert to grease pencil, and voila, there it is. It's 2D. It looks a little hokey because those lines are going over there, but you can delete those lines. You can clean it up, or you can trace it. Okay, then here I can work with my adjustments, maybe increase the thickness or lower the thickness. Either way, it's a separate thing. And what's crazy about this, since this is a background, I can actually select, I'm going to go to edit mode here, select the all the strokes here. I'm going to press select all of them. Okay, and then I can do rotation, and there you go. So meaning if I decide to change the angle, okay, and draw here like an over the shoulder and whatnot, then you don't have to draw the background. It goes with the 3D object. Okay, so that's the thing that we want you guys to kind of concentrate on first, is learning the basics of just building blocks. And we're talking simple blocks here, and you don't even need to do any of the fancy stuff that I demoed here. You can just simply use primitives and then manipulate them using the transform tools. You don't even need to go to edit mode. I mean, here you can do so much with simply just scaling objects, and you can duplicate an object by just clicking Shift D. You get another copy right there, and then on the copy you can do something else to it, and then you can, kind of like playing Legos basically. Okay, let's say that's your table. You didn't want to do the fancy one I made. You just want to keep it simple like that, like a park bench, park table. All right, and then there's a little bit of mesh that you can create right here. You know, cylinder, you know, monkey. I don't know what would you do that, but it's there. UV sphere. Okay, so there's so many things. You know, just for distancing also. It's a great way to get started with your background. You can concentrate on the performance of your main character.